Alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. Last night we completed Surah Anfal and we did a large portion of Surah Tawbah. I'd like to focus on a few verses of Surah Anfal today. And before I get into the explanation of those verses, the natural human tendency is for a person to be wanted. He wants to be recognized for the good that he does, and sometimes even some people want to be recognized for things that they haven't even done. yuriduna an yuhmadu bima lam yaf'alu. They want to be praised for things that they did not even achieve, but they want the praise for free. So that's the natural inclination of every single human being. And we see this on social media all the time, that people, if they do something or if they start a project, more often than not, they will broadcast it and put it online. Hopefully, we hope that that intention is to promote the project and to encourage other people, rather than for a person to show off and do what's called in Arabic riya, do it for being praised, losing the sincerity and ikhlas in the work that he's doing. So it's important for us to always look at our intentions and evaluate our intentions. Why am I doing a certain thing? Why am I doing an action? And always we need to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive any kind of shortcomings when it comes to our intentions and so on. We should always ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us ikhlas, because ikhlas and sincerity is the thing through which our deeds are accepted. If a person does things to show off, then that deed will not be accepted. And there's a very famous hadith of the Prophet ﷺ in which three people were listed: the shaheed and the scholar and the generous person. And all three of them, despite the actions that they had done in their life, they were condemned to the hellfire. Why? Because their intentions were not sincere. They wanted to be praised for what they had done. So it's always important to attribute any good that a person does only and only to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We should never attribute anything to ourselves. And this is a selection of verses in Surah Al-Anfal that talk about the Battle of Badr. Actually, a lot of Surah Al-Anfal talks about the Battle of Badr, and every single person, every single Muslim knows how great the event of the Battle of Badr was in Islamic history. It was an event that was a turning point in the recognition of the Muslims, and it took place in the month of Ramadan. And during this battle, many miracles took place and many achievements were made which were completely out of the ordinary. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He addressed the Prophet ﷺ in this surah in many verses. For example, at the beginning of the 10th juz, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the run-up to the battle and what happened. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first of all says to the Prophet ﷺ, إِذْ يُرِيكَهُمُ اللَّهُ فِي مَنَامِكَ قَلِيلًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed you in your dream, O Prophet of Allah, that they were a small group. Okay, so if Allah had shown them to you to be a big group, لَفَشِلْتُمْ, then you would have become cowardly and you would have become afraid about what you're going to face in this battle. And even during the course of the battle, وَإِذْ يُرِيكُمُوهُمْ إِذِ الْتَقَيْتُمْ فِي أَعْيُنِكُمْ قَلِيلًا وَيُقَلِّلُكُمْ فِي أَعْيُنِهِمْ لِيَقْضِيَ اللَّهُ أَمْرًا كَانَ مَفْعُولًا. When the battle actually started, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He made the non-Muslims, the mushrikeen, look small in the eyes of the believers, and he made the Muslims also look small in the eyes of the mushrikeen, so that each one would be encouraged to fight each other. لِيَقْضِيَ اللَّهُ أَمْرًا كَانَ مَفْعُولًا, so that the decision that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had made, that could be fulfilled. And the decision was what? The victory that was written for the Muslims. So, as we know, this small group of Muslims, 313 or so, according to the differing riwayat, they fought a group of people which was almost 3 times their size and fully armed with cavalry, horses and camels and so on, whereas the Muslims, they had very few arms, very few weaponry, and yet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them a resounding victory. Now, after the victory took place, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses the Muslims, and this is the point that I'd like to really stress upon. And it could have been that the Muslims, after this victory, they would have in their hearts that yes, we won and we were very brave and we did this and we did that, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala immediately addressed them and told them that that victory didn't come through any of their actions, but everything was done by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses the Muslims and says, فَلَمْ تَقْتُلُوهُمْ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ قَتَلَهُمْ. O Muslims, you didn't kill these disbelievers, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did it. Okay, so seemingly, on the face of it, it looks like you guys did it. It looks like you did it, but really, the one behind the scenes, the one that sent the angels, the one that gave you the strength, and there were other things that took place, the mud that was on the side of the disbelievers and so on, that prevented them from moving, and many other things that took place that helped the Muslims. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, it was not you that did it, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He did it. And addressing the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam directly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا رَمَيْتَ إِذْ رَمَيْتَ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ رَمَى. O Prophet of Allah, you didn't throw when you threw, but it was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that threw. So what does this mean? So whenever the battles used to take place amongst the Arabs, in the beginning of the battle, there were a couple of individual skirmishes that used to take place. So 2 brave men, one on each side, would come out, they would fight each other, and then whatever would happen. And then after that, the main throng, the big crowd, would then fight each other in unison. They would fight together as a team, basically. And this basically was the actual event of the battle. So individual skirmishes first, followed by the main battle. So in the beginning of the Battle of Badr, a couple of individual fights took place, and then after that, the Prophet ﷺ, he picked up a handful of soil, sand, and he threw it in the direction of the disbelievers, and this sand, it went into the eyes of all of those disbelievers, temporarily blinding them, and then the Prophet ﷺ beckoned for the rest of the army to move forward and start the attack. So this throwing of the sand, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses the Prophet ﷺ and says, وَمَا رَمَيْتَ إِذْ رَمَيْتَ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ رَمَى. O Prophet of Allah, when you threw, it wasn't you that was doing the throwing, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was the one that threw. So this basically, these couple of verses, and there are others too, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses the fact that He sent angels to the Prophet ﷺ, even the sending of the angels was a kind of a bushra for the believers. But the real help was from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَمَا جَعَلَهُ اللَّهُ إِلَّا بُشْرًا وَلِتَطْمَئِنَّ بِهِ قُلُوبُكُمْ وَمَا النَّصْرُ إِلَّا مِنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that the sending of troops of angels and so on, that people could see descending with their eyes, it was only a form of a glad tidings for you, Muslims, وَلِتَطْمَئِنَّ بِهِ قُلُوبُكُمْ, and so that your hearts could be at ease. But the reality is that even though you see the angels coming down before your eyes, still the help is directly from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not even these angels are doing the helping, the help is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So putting all of these verses together, what does that mean? You know, each and every action that we do, however small, however big, we should not think that me, Zayd, Amr, Bakr, Tom, Dick, Harry, I was the one that did it. We always need to attribute that good to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It was with the tawfiq of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It was with the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It was with the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we achieved what we achieved. Now, to give you a very blunt example, there are so many sick people nowadays with this new virus that's going around, and there are people that are going into hospitals. One person who is going in is coming out healthy, or without even going to the hospital, he's being treated at home or quarantining himself at home, and he comes out fit and healthy. It's the same virus, it's the same illness. And another person, he goes to the hospital and he has the biggest specialists around him and all the specialized assistance that he could get, but he comes out in the shape of a dead body. So what does that tell us? Same virus, same illness. It could be even two people that are comparatively same health-wise, the same health issues or no health issues, but one is dying and one is living. What does that tell us? It tells us that behind the scenes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that is controlling everything. He is the one that is pulling the strings. He decides who lives, He decides who dies, and He is the one that He gives shifa. Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, when he described Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the disbelievers, he said, وَإِذَا مَرِضْتُ فَهُوَ يَشْفِينَ. When I become sick, He is the one who cures me. So the cure is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this should not undermine the efforts of the doctors and the nurses and the people that are in the front lines. We commend them for what they're doing, and if we, God forbid, we become sick, we should seek assistance and we should seek medical treatment, but with the belief and conviction that the one who puts the effect of the medication in that medicine, it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The one who puts the cure in that medicine, it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is the point that we need to understand from the verses that were recited in Surah Anfal. Everything is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We should always attribute good to Him. All the good that we do, it is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we should always be humble. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can take that tawfiq away from us at any time, and we should be always grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for any opportunity that He gives us to do good and to get close to Him. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us tawfiq to understand and practice what has been said and heard. Jazakumullahu khairan.